Hey, Brenda, I can't hear. Oh, hold on. Let me. Unmute. Hello, Brenda.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, Gordon,
Yes.
before we join with everyone, um, I think, well, I'm going to announce how many minutes each person is going to have.
Okay.
If the ANCs go over 90 seconds, cut them.
Okay.
The commissioners, okay?
Gotcha.
I'm sorry, you should have called me earlier. I called back 3 times. I'm not picking up. Hello? Yeah, Minister Chi, I'm on the meeting. Okay, bye-bye. Hey. Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Hi, Brenda.
All I can see is my head, huh?
I can see a little bit of your eyes. That's good.
Let's see, can I move it back a little further? No, that's worse.
Oh, I love the pictures, Brenda. It's the first time I've gotten to see it.
Oh, okay. My next life, I'm gonna be 5'7".
You aren't 5'7" already? I didn't know that.
I said my next life.
Good evening, everyone.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Jeff.
Nice to see you virtually.
Waiting on.
All commissioners, I have alerted Gordon that after you speak for 90 seconds, you will be cut.
Hey,
No one wants the original 90-minute deadline?
Gordon Perry says that
I
he's
just promoted him.
okay. Thank you.
What you say, Evan?
I said I don't think I need 90 minutes.
I meant to say 90 seconds. Because we don't want to hold the people too long. 10 o'clock is a little bit late. And we need to work on 10 o'clock. What time, Evan, I know you attend some other ANC meetings. What time do they normally turn out?
Like, cut people off for, or when do they finish their meetings?
When they finish their meeting?
It really depends on the commission. I've noticed in virtual meetings, they're running longer because people have more people participate, right? And more people comment, but also places that have hard deadlines because of their venue, like they hold it at a library that closes, no longer have that. So they just run longer. Some commissions do run even longer than us, though. I do know that.
Oh, wow.
I can confirm that all the ANCs I've attended have been going longer than usual for them, and they have also been having more people participate.
Well, I can confirm
Okay.
I'm not interested in going any longer than we already go.
Yeah.
Very good. Trying to make it shorter.
So we're missing Scott and Tiffany and Maria at the moment.
Okay, 7:02. Aaron, will you do the roll call?
Sure. 4B01,
Present.
4B02 present, 4B03 not present, 4B04,
Present.
4B05,
Present.
4B06, 4B07,
Present.
4B08, 4B08, Allison.
Sorry, I was on mute. I'm present.
4B09. So we're missing Scott, Tiffany, and Loraya, although I think Loraya may have just tried to call me. I don't have a message though. Should I try calling her back?
Sure.
I'm gonna mute myself then. Gordon. LaRoya is calling in, so we should keep an eye out for her phone number.
Okay.
I think she's calling in now, and it ends in 2427.
Yep. Oh, there's Scott.
Okay, good Scott. We've got LaRoya.
Thank you, Gordon. Hello, commissioners.
Hello.
Hi there.
Hello.
Yeah, we're there.
Okay, we have a quorum.
Okay, we have a quorum at 7:05.
Thank you. Our meeting is called to order. I thank everyone for coming. Thank everyone for participating, for coming, calling in to our virtual meeting. Hope that everyone is being safe. You're wearing your mask as we to keep us protected. And we have a short agenda tonight, and we want to thank those and want to thank Aaron and the rest of the commissioners for having a July meeting since we did not have a March meeting this year. And one thing that I'm going to do right now is before I get started with our agenda is our community concerns. And this is what our third or fourth virtual meeting. And you need to please raise your hand, button visa Zoom, your star 9 visa telephone to speak during community concerns. The commissioner will provide additional details regarding how to present community concern visa virtual meeting at the start of the meeting, and that is to raise your hand. Either, if you got your Zoom on, just, flash and Gordon can see you. This is a time for questions or statements from members of the public about issues on the agenda or other areas of concern. And this is very important along with what you have for community concerns. Please limit your statement or question to 1 minute. 1 minute. You may also contact members of your commission before or after the meeting. So each and every one should know who your commissioners are, so you can contact them if you didn't get it in the meeting, and they can always send us out an email. Thank you very much. Now going to the administrative items. Everyone has the agenda. Do we have any add-ons or take off the for July agenda?
I would like to add 2 items to the agenda if others would allow me to. In addition to the
Yes, Jeff.
in addition to the treasurer's report, I would like to. I caught a small error as I emailed all of you. I caught a small error in the second quarter of 2020 quarterly financial report that we approved in our April meeting. So I would like to add an item to approve an amended second quarterly report. In addition, we have we can approve our third quarter 2020 of the fiscal year, which covers the months of April, May, and June of this year. So I have both of those quarterly reports available. I sent them around on Friday, and I can share my screen if that is of interest. But I'd make a motion that we add both of those to the agenda for this month's meeting.
Okay, I also have here that I'm looking at the July meeting, the July upcoming approval. Do you need that added to the meeting, added to the agenda tonight, the July agenda? I mean, not the July report, financial report.
Yeah, I'd like to add it to this month's. I thought that's what we were doing, is considering the agenda for this. Is that right?
Yes. Do I have a motion?
I moved to add those two items to our agenda.
I'll second.
It had moved and second that those two items be added to our agenda. All of those in favor?
Aye.
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 Nay? Okay, those will be added. May, June, and July will be added to the agenda for tonight. Thank you. Anything else that we need to have corrected on the agenda? We don't have anything else?
Look like it. Brenda, I move to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
All right, it has been moved and second that we approve the agenda as stated. All right, thank you.
Let's vote on it real quick.
Repeat that,
All
Aaron.
in favor?
Yeah, let's vote on it real quick, Brenda.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Can we eliminate some of this voting? I had to laugh on that myself. Okay. Okay, we done the virtual meeting. We approved the, okay, the next is the approval of the June regular public minutes meeting. Did everyone get a chance to over June's meeting?
Yes.
Any corrections? No corrections? Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve, motion to approve June 2020's ANC 4B meeting.
Second.
All right, thank you. It has been motioned that the 2020 June regular meeting, and it has been second. All of those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Any nays? I have it.
No, but Brenda, 1 second.
Okay, Treasurer.
Brenda, 1 second. It looks like LaRoya dropped off the telephone, but is back via the video. Gordon, if you can look to add her as a
Okay.
panelist.
Yes, she did.
You back on, LaRoya?
She's muted. LaRoya, we're just voting on to approve the June minutes.
She on
Gordon,
mute.
unmute her, Gordon.
Yeah, I've tried a couple times already.
I'm texting her. She's muted. There we go.
There she
Okay.
goes.
Hey, hi, LaRoya. We're
Hi.
just voting on the June minutes.
Okay, so I,
Okay, great.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. Treasury report.
Yeah, that's me. Thank you. For the treasurer's report, we have substantially the same report as last month. we have about $2 more in the bank than we did at our last meeting. Our current balance as of our last bank statement is $23,983 and 59 cents. So that's all I have for a treasurer's report. But if I may, then I'd like to add a move to the amended second quarter quarterly financial report.
Can we approve one first or both at the same time? I mean, I'm sorry, motion one at a time. Both at the same time.
I think we can. I don't know. Let's just do them independently. I don't know. Should I share my screen?
Okay.
Look at these quickly. Would you like? Okay. 1 second. See if I did this correctly. Okay.
Excuse me.
So this is the amended second quarter for 2020 financial report.
Okay, because everyone just mute their phones as Jeff. Excuse me, Jeff. Could everyone mute their phone except Jeff? Thank you.
Okay, I hope it's.
Go ahead, Jeff.
And, okay, so the error that I made in this was that I didn't include a $25 check that we wrote to participate in the ANC security fund. So I added that back in. I caught it when I did the third quarter, and then I realized that mistake was made. So we just needed to add that back in. So it's otherwise the same as what I had personally previously sent around. So unless there's any further discussion on this, I would move to approve the amended quarterly financial report for the second quarter.
Second.
Second?
I said
Did
second.
we
This
get
is
a
Allison.
second?
Yeah, Commissioner Brooks.
Oh, okay, Allison. It has been moved and second that we accept the financial report for the quarterly, what's this, May, June?
It's the second quarter. The second
Okay.
quarter of the fiscal year is January, February, March of the calendar year, 2020.
January, okay. It has, okay, for January, February, and March.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Okay, thank you. Okay, you want to do the next report, Jeff?
Yes. Okay. So then I have here's the third quarter of the fiscal year, which again covers April, May, and June of the calendar year. We had no transactions, so the only thing that occurred is a small amount of bank charges and a small amount of interest. So that's this report. Normally, I didn't think about this very far in advance because we normally don't have a July meeting, and so these things wait until September. But since we have a July meeting, it's really nice to get this out of the way. So I appreciate the last minute addition, and I would move to approve the quarterly financial report for the third quarter.
It's been second.
Second, this is Allison Brooks.
Okay. Okay, all right. So all of those that's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Jeff. Any more?
That's it for me. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Jeff. Jeff worked so hard for us. Thank you, Jeff. Commissioner update. Allison? Not Allison. Aaron?
I just have one administrative item, which is to note that although we're meeting this month in July, we will recess in August. So we won't be back.
Mute your phone, Jeff.
We won't be back until the fourth Monday in September, which, let me just check real quick, I believe is the 28th. Yep. So September 28th will be our next meeting.
Okay. Any other commissioners? Allison, you have anything?
Yes, I have one thing. I want to make people aware that we've been working with DDOT over the last several years to procure a stoplight at the intersection of First Street Northeast and Riggs Road. And initially that stoplight was tied to the Metro Branch Trail implementation, and they've been able to speed up the implementation or the construction for the traffic signal itself. So residents should begin to see construction along Ridge Road at First Street while that intersection and traffic light are constructed.
Okay, thank you. Any other commissioners?
Yes.
Go ahead, Mr. Reed.
Red is my name. We have a project at Lot 69. We're still meeting with DOEE and the residents of around Lot 69. The group is called the Friends of Lot 69. We had a Zoom meeting this past Saturday, and right now, DGS has effectively, again, stopped the project. We just got DGS back out there. They did another cleanup of the lot. And I just want to update the commission that DGS and DOE have held fast to their commitment to the residents to allow them to come up with a plan to present. So right now the residents are doing just that. And the residents have pushed, and Councilmember Todd's office also working with the residents so that we could get a serious cleanup. And we're submitting a plan now, and we're hoping that DDOT will respond to us regarding the alley and our request around the alley that squares around the lot. So I just want to update the commissioners that so far the city has honored its commitment to the residents.
Thank you. Any other commissioners?
One brief update that in response to the resolution that on Piney Branch Road Northwest, DDOT has begun moving forward with traffic calming measures at Piney Branch and Dahlia. Installation of temporary measures should occur within the next couple of weeks. And there's a notice of intent out for more permanent measures that we're going to continue to work on to make that corridor right by Tacoma Education Campus as safe as possible for all the members of our community.
Thank you. Very good. I was through that area today. Yes. Okay. Presentation. Arena Main Street on support during the COVID-19 and reopening. Okay, and we have Edwin Washington, Executive Director of the Park Main Street. You have 3 minutes.
Brenda, I'm gonna give Gordon just a second to move over all of the Main Street folks to.
Oh, okay.
This is Uptown Main Street.
You, right, Erin?
Yeah, there are 4 representatives of the area Main Streets. Laura Barkley should be on, Edwin Washington, Paul Rupert, and Gabriella Mosi.
And while we're waiting, someone had a question with regard to Evan's update. I don't know if you want to address that now or later. Question is, do we know what the temporary measures at Piney Branch and Dahlia will be?
Yeah, so the temporary measures, there's a more detailed description on the DDOT's notice of intent site, but it's going to be a temporary median in the middle of the intersection to narrow the road, curb bump outs, repainting the crosswalks, flex posts, increase space between the crosswalk and parked cars to ensure that there's more visibility, and increasing the level of lighting as well for pedestrians at night. Those are the short-term temporary measures. There's more steps coming, as I understand it, including some type of pedestrian signal or flashing beacon, but that hasn't been formally put forward yet.
Brenda, it looks like Commissioner Huff also has an update.
Yeah, so for residents in 4B09, we've been pushing for a community playground at the site where the field is. So the ask was, well, I won't give the ask, but the ask was pretty substantial. It's a $550,000 approval for a community playground. And so moving forward, I'll be looking to see whether or not the number can go to the initial ask. But want to thank Councilmember Todd, who's been working hard to work with me to get a playground because we did not have a community playground. So residents will then be reached out to have community engagement in meetings. Thank you.
Thank you.
I believe everyone from the Main Streets should be able to talk now.
Great.
Okay, Main Street. Well, just a moment. Do we have any more from the commissioners? Any more updates? Okay, thank you. Main Street.
Why don't we start with Mr. Washington, who's the Executive Director of the Parks Main Street?
Thank you, Commissioner Palmer, and thank you, ANC 4B commissioners, for allowing me to be a part of the meeting tonight, and certainly our colleagues. The Parks Main Street is one of 24 designated DC Main Streets funded by the Department of Small Local Business Development. We are a program of the Center for Nonprofit Advancement that provides fiscal and organizational management, leadership, and technical assistance. The Center first was awarded, the Center for Nonprofit Advancement was first awarded the grant in the fall of 2018. I came on board in February of 2019. As an accredited Main Street program, TPMS has met rigorous performance standards set by the National Main Street Center that recognizes our commitment to preservation-based economic development, transparent use of funding, and community revitalization. We provide capacity building, technical assistance, grants, and access to targeted training for small businesses. Our service areas include commercial quarters in Upper Northeast and Northwest in Ward 4, and Upper Northeast in Ward 5, communities of Riggs Park, Manor Park, and Lamont Riggs. We seek to retain legacy businesses, attract new businesses, and create a stronger small business presence to help keep our neighborhoods desirable places to live, work, and play. In 2019 and currently in 2020, TPMS has provided small businesses have received grants and technical assistance equaling more than $150,000, and we project another $25,000 to small businesses by September 30th of this year. I'd like to be able to share my screen if I could real quick. Is that possible, Aaron or Gordon?
Yes, sir. Hold on one second. You should be able to share it now, sir.
Okay, let me, let's see here. And where do I go to share at the top here?
No, at the bottom, there should be a toolbar that has a bunch of icons. There should be a share screen button.
Okay, let me get that real quick. Apologies, my time. There we go.
And then you pick the program you want to show.
Let's see here. Okay. All right, am I still here?
You are?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, anyway, listen, I don't want to get through my timing a little bit, but I wanted to share and note that our website is theparksmainstreet.org. Within that website, you will see a lot of activity we've done, the areas that we service, and the communities we serve. I wanted to share that we do have an 11-member board. Our chair is Rhonda Henderson. Our vice chair is David Kasib. And these are part of our executive committee. Nick Barber is our secretary, and Commissioner Brooks is our treasurer. We also have other board members that are Glenn Ogilvie, who's the CEO of the Center for Nonprofit Advancement, Ray Crawford, and okay, thank you. All right, I wanted to just go back up to the home if I could, and then if you could click on about and then go to the team, and then I'll close out. Go back up and let it drop down and go to our team. Thank you, Commissioner Palmer. And if you just scroll down and you'll see me there, our executive committee, as I mentioned, Rhonda Henderson, David Kasib, and then Nick Barber, Allison Brooks. Again, 11-member CEO as Glenn Ogilvie, Joe Carroll, chair of our Economic Vitality Committee. As you can see, Ray Crawford, Joseph Gibbs, chair of our Design Committee. A little bit more there, Eric Grabardurell, I'll always butcher his name. Sarah Shank, who's co-chair of our Promotions Committee. You see Joanne Stevens, co-chair of our Promotions Committee, and then Lauren Stevens, who's our Economic Vitality Committee. To close out, in this age of COVID-19, small businesses are struggling to survive. In fact, we had our first casualty, the Cacia's Collection, back over in Manor Park. They all just about made 5 years. They were a high-end consignment shop and children's store, children's clothing as well. So the resources that's provided by the Parks Main Street are more critical, even more now. And we're constantly seeking diverse funding to augment the financial assistance provided by the Department of Small and Local Business Development. And with that, I think my time may have expired.
Yes, sir.
And I'm certainly open for any questions or anything to show the kinds of things that we have been doing to assist in reopening in COVID. So if there was any questions, or I guess Laura, you're up. Okay.
Okay, should I go? Can I share my screen, please?
You should be able to now, I believe.
Okay. Can you see it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, commissioners, for the invitation to be here. I'm responsible for the Tacoma Commercial District as part of the Old Tacoma Business Association, and it's a cross-jurisdictional commercial district. So we run from 4th and Butternut Street in Tacoma, DC, to the Tacoma Park Co-op at Carroll Avenue and Ethan Allen Avenue in Tacoma Park, Maryland. We were started in 2004 by a group of Tacoma, DC and Tacoma Park, Maryland business owners. And we have about 120 street front businesses that make up our commercial district, with 50 of those in the district. In normal times, I do day-to-day support of the businesses, help promote the businesses. We host events and other activities that drive foot traffic to the Tacoma Commercial District, and other activities day-to-day that help with general business retention and expansion. Over the past 4 months, it's been quite different, as it has been for everyone. So I've done a lot of work with the small businesses on understanding the operating status and what was available to them, and how to re-engineer their businesses. We had businesses that hadn't done delivery before, but were able to do delivery operations now. And what did that entail? We had other small businesses that didn't have gift cards, for example, online. The community really wanted to support our small businesses. So I helped businesses get those up and running. So there was a lot of work in how to pivot and try to figure out what was available to these businesses and how to keep them operational if they were allowed. Also during this time, I did a lot of work with the small businesses, trying to find all available grants and loans. And for us, that meant through federal options, district, state of Maryland, Montgomery County, city of Tacoma Park. So we had looking through all available sources to get our businesses money. I'm pleased to report that we just did a survey of the businesses, and the total, I think about 20 of our Tacoma DC businesses answered, and of that total, they have received 1.9 million in federal and district support, which is great because that has been a very difficult time for them. During this time, we also hosted business roundtable meetings to help our small businesses consider reopening. Prior to reopening, we had no idea what that was going to look like. There were not federal regulations or federal instructions in place. So we looked to other states, we looked to other countries, and we held Zoom meetings to try to get our businesses to think for what it could look like with reopening. We also hosted a business reassessment, risk assessment roundtables. We have a local expert around here who works with the CDC, and he was our guest speaker, and he helped our businesses think about what reopening would look like and how to mitigate risk in their businesses for their customers, for their staff. As the phases of reopening began, our businesses required additional support trying to figure out again how they could operate, what was allowed in their operation, how they needed to re-engineer what they were doing. We also worked together with the other main streets and with Edwin and Paul here doing PPE distribution, the personal protective equipment distribution from the district to our small businesses, which was a lifesaver because there were businesses that were having trouble finding this through supply chain problems on their own. I also worked with the businesses trying to get outdoor dining and curbside pickup and the new parklet seating up and running through DDOT. That was released and that allowed the businesses to provide socially distanced dining in the absence of indoor seating and just trying to recover and trying to get their business up and running again. I also worked with our fitness businesses in Tacoma trying to find them outdoor space. The restrictions on indoor exercising, and a lot of people just aren't comfortable doing it. We needed to match our fitness studios up with alternative locations outside. Through this all, I've also been doing promotion of the small businesses. So letting the community know the status of our businesses, who was operational, who wasn't, perhaps what different product lines were being offered. We had businesses that were taking new directions and offering new products that were in need right now. Like 4th Street Market was offering PPE or selling different sanitization and masks and other products that they hadn't been selling before. And right now I'm working on a Rebuilding Tacoma program. So now that we've got our businesses open, there's a long road to recovery, and we're trying to figure out what that looks like. What sort of support do the businesses need in terms of professional services? Do they need attorneys to help them renegotiate their leases with their property owners? Do they need financial support trying to look at their books and figure out how they're going to remain operational? So that's the project that we're currently working on. We also introduced a Tacoma Micro Grant Fund for COVID relief during this time. We raised $38,000 from the community in approximately 4 weeks. And we made micro grants to 39 small businesses in our community. And this we were able to do before all the federal funding and district funding came out. So it really filled a gap in our businesses that had gone from open and generating, having cash flow to nothing. We also administer a revolving loan fund for the commercial district. And this is something we've had before. But we modified the whole application process in order to make it easier and less restrictive for our small businesses that are suffering right now. So we currently, our businesses haven't applied for it now, and I think everybody's been looking at trying to get all available grants. And so we've got $128,000 that we anticipate we'll be using over the next year. I also just wanted to highlight there's been all this outdoor dining that I mentioned. I think it really looks great with all the new activity on 4th Street. So I just wanted to highlight Horace and Dickey's has new outdoor dining. Tacoma Station has already also introduced a new parklet seating, which is the 3rd photo from the left. And this is where the businesses are being offered parking spaces from DDOT to expand their outdoor dining. So that's in place. And then just new Chef Adrian at the Tacoma Station and a new menu. So I encourage everybody to give it a try. There's all new barbecue that's being made out in the parklet and available on the menu. I also just wanted to highlight the streetery. This is a closed street. This is actually on the Maryland side, but as a cross-jurisdictional combined commercial district, these two fitness studios are using the space for outdoor fitness classes. So the bottom center is people relaxing during a yoga class, and then Cycled, which is our cycling studio. That's a class in their parking lot there, but they're also going to be hosting them on our streetery as well. So I just wanted to highlight that and encourage people to come out and support these fitness studios. I also wanted to just give a quick update on 4th Street. There's been a lot of activity there. I know when I was quarantining and then came out to 4th Street, and it was a whole new world. There's been a lot of construction for a while on the new street realignment, and they did a lot of work while we were all inside. So this shot of is going north on 4th Street. It's now one way, and it's actually one way toward us going into the district. It has a new bike lane. It has a new parking configuration. It has new historic globe lights that match the rest of the commercial district now. It really looks great, and I encourage everyone to come out. I also want to highlight the top right-hand corner. This is our new business, Donut Run, that's on 4th Street, that's been working hard on construction during this time. And hopefully they'll be announcing their opening. They're just doing final permitting. And we hope to see them open in the next 2 to 4 weeks, I'm assuming. And then lastly, Tacoma Theater. A lot of construction happened during this time as well. While we were all inside, the Tacoma Theater is actually, in the past 2 weeks, they quietly opened the medical facility there. So the bottom right-hand corner is the peek inside. But basically, it's a children's hospital. It's their neuroscience center for the whole the DMV area. There's 2 small retail spaces, and we hope to see them open within the next few weeks. Few months on those. But that a lot of construction happened there while we were all inside. I just want to conclude by encouraging everyone to come out and shop local. It's an extremely difficult time for our small businesses, and if you want to check out our businesses, you can go to mainstreettacoma.org, and we've got everybody out there. So thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to raise my hand quickly. Is Tabletop open right now, Laura?
They are. It's reduced hours, so you might not have hit them at the right time if you've tried. I think it's like 1 to 5 p.m. and not every day of the week, limited.
I haven't tried, but
Okay.
I would like to give them some business as well. So thank you.
Laura, Commissioner Red, let me ask you about, I saw support, COVID supply support. My nonprofit that I direct, we received COVID, SBA loan on COVID, for COVID relief. Does Tacoma Street, is there a possibility we could get a source where those could be purchased?
For PPE, or I'm
Yes,
sorry, I missed.
yeah, PPE.
Yeah, on our website, we've got a couple of links to places to purchase masks. One of them is just, if you go to our Old Tacoma Ace Hardware, right in the center of Tacoma here, they are doing they have a business relationship or a business membership, and they've got all sorts of PPE if you need it in volume. They also, you can't find the normal brands, but they've sourced all sorts of different brands that meet the requirements of the CDC.
Thank you. And a follow up to the fellow commissioners, I'm concerned with the fact that we have businesses that are basically exploiting this COVID period by having really hiked up prices. for what I believe our city should be giving away. And so we wanted to purchase some so we can give to residents who are unmasked but willing to wear masks. And so that's the reason why I asked Laura, and I hope fellow commissioners that you would pay attention to some of the businesses. They're selling, I mean, one mask for $5.99. So think about it. Think on that. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
I think I might be next. My name is Paul Rupert.
Yes, sir, you are.
Thank you. I'm the executive director of the Upper Georgia Avenue Main Street, which is a new main street, which just started last October. I've been on the job since February. Our main street runs from Missouri Avenue along Georgia Avenue all the way up to Eastern Avenue. So it connects to 4 of our neighborhoods: Brightwood, Manor Park, Tacoma, and Shepherd Park. Right now, we're in the process of distributing grants. There's been our second funding round. We're doing grants to local businesses. We'll be announcing those later this week. And we expect there to be a third round in August. So our website is uppergeorgiaavenue.com, and you can find out information there about that. The grant that we're doing now is funded by the Community Foundation of Washington, D.C., and we were awarded that grant in combination with the Parks Main Street and with the Center for Nonprofit Advancement. And our grant will be used for rental assistance and technical assistance. So we'll be assisting businesses in areas such as social media, website development, promotions, things that are really important, pivoting to new business models that will allow them to continue to be successful. We've had a few businesses close on Georgia Avenue, but we do have some success stories, including a new restaurant that just opened last week. G Kids Productions Yard Style Food is a Jamaican restaurant that's located at 6208 Georgia Avenue. It's really delicious. The beef patties are delicious. I really recommend you go there. It's on the same block as Serengeti and Richie's Cafe. So if you have a chance, please visit them. Right now we're looking for volunteers. So I wanted to give my email address. It's paulr@nonprofitadvancement.org. And we're looking for volunteers for our 4 committees. It's design, organization, promotion, and economic vitality. So if anyone who's participating in the meeting this evening is interested in any of those areas, please do contact me. We are working on a kind of a middle term, longer term plan for beautification of the corridor. Our design committee is working through some suggestions and ideas, and we hope to bring those ideas to the community, the broader community, in the next 6 months or so.
Paul, give your email address again, please.
Yes, it's paulr@nonprofitadvancement.org. Then the last thing I just want to end up with is, you're welcome. The last thing I want to end up with is on August 5th, we're going to be hosting a Zoom presentation of the retail analysis that was just completed by John Stover and Associates. This is an analysis of the corridor of Georgia Avenue from Eastern down to Missouri. And it looks at what we have there in terms of the built environment and what the opportunities are there for new businesses coming in. This is an extremely difficult time, as my colleagues have mentioned, for the small businesses along Georgia and in other neighborhoods. But at the same time, our businesses are amongst the most resilient. I think this goes for other neighborhoods and other main streets here. We've been able to hold on to our businesses through that support that we're able to give to our local businesses. And really that support is funded by the Department of Small and Local Businesses Development and is supported by the residents. And so I want to reiterate what Laura and Edwin had said, is that shopping local is really critical to supporting our businesses. We don't know where we're going from here. We don't know what the city is going to be doing in terms of opening up or closing down. We have our fingers crossed that we'll be able to get a handle on the most recent uptick in cases of COVID. because we really need to do that in order for our businesses to thrive. They are certainly one of the most important parts of our neighborhoods, and really they make our neighborhoods distinct and interesting and provide that sense of community. Happy to answer any questions.
Yes, Commissioner Red, question. Paul, let me ask you two questions I have. One, is it my understanding that you're a nonprofit supporting these profit-making ventures up and down the corridor?
That's correct. The Main Street organizations are nonprofits, and their goal is to support the businesses that exist and to attract new businesses to the various corridors throughout the city.
All right, and I guess I haven't followed to that. So do the businesses that you're supporting, do they contribute to the nonprofit that's supporting them?
That's part of the goal. We are a new nonprofit organization, so we are just getting our fundraising started. So this fall, we'll be turning towards the businesses along George Avenue, asking them to support us as well as we're able to support them. Yes. So
all right. Thank you. And my second question is turns into my third, is the analysis that you spoke about. That analysis was done, again, if you would just share with me who that was, and is that for public viewing, or is it possibly for public viewing with that analysis? Because I was wondering about the demographic makeup along that corridor and of course, the monetary economic input into the city.
Yeah, so that is for public consumption. We are going to do the presentation. The analysis was done by an organization here in DC called Stover and Associates. They are well known in the Main Street world, where they've done these sorts of analysis for neighborhoods all over the city. So we'll be presenting it on the 5th. That's a presentation that's open to the public. And you can also go to our website. The analysis is actually on our website now. And again, that's uppergeorgiaave.com. And you can find the analysis there. And it includes those things that you're interested in, such as the demographics, the financials of the nearby residents, who shops along George Avenue, that sort of thing.
Thank you very much.
Welcome. Any other questions? Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity.
Sure, Paul, if you wouldn't mind staying on a little longer after we take Uptown Main Street, it looks like there are some questions for you guys.
Great. Yep, happy to.
Uptown Main Street, you guys are up.
Unmute. Ask you to start your video. Okay. Okay, let's see if this works.
Yes, yes.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. I see that. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Great. Excellent. Well, I'm very happy that my colleagues all went before I did, because I've been on the job only a couple of months, but I am very familiar with the Main Street model. The one thing that I would like to add is that this is a volunteer-led organization. And so are all Main Streets. They're volunteer-led, and they work with committees of residents and small business owners. And we've been doing some of the same activities that my colleagues have undertaken. And I've had some predecessors. Obviously, as soon as I came in, it was right in the middle of the pandemic, and we had to prepare to open. So we've done some of the same activities. I have a few slides of some of the things that we're doing, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to show them to you, because I had to switch from my computer to my phone. But I'll give you a little bit of background on Uptown Main Street. Uptown Main Street covers 14th Street, upper part of 14th Street from Spring Road to Colorado Avenue, or about the height of Kennedy Street, and then Kennedy Street from 14th all the way to North Capitol. And so only a little piece of our Main Street is part of your ANC. I believe it's one commissioner, if I'm not mistaken, but it is an important part. It's that last section of Kennedy. So right now we've done the same thing. We've had to pivot. We had funding for festivals, which is a tradition with Main Street. It's a new Main Street, but the community tradition of a festival on Kennedy Street has been going on for 6 years, even though the Main Street's only 2 years old. And of course, we can't hold any of those events. So we converted those funds into grants. So we have given a round of mini grants to help our business owners, and we're going to do another one. Same with helping them apply for the government funding, the federal and the local. And we do promotion. We are doing community cleanups now that folks can come out. We are participating in the sidewalk sale. Perhaps some of you are familiar with the Dog Days of Summer sale, which was a sidewalk sale that was very popular in mid-city, or around the 14th and U area. So now it's all of us can participate. All Main Streets have been invited. So again, we're doing that, and we're hoping that our businesses are going to participate to help them just promote and get out there and survive. Like Paul said, the type of business that we have so far, they've been able to hang on. So unfortunately, I do not have any closings to report, but I do know that some of them are teetering. I know that by the fall, they're probably not going to make it. So I do encourage you to please support local. Please support local. Oh, thank you so much. There are some visuals there. So you can see that's a community cleanup that's coming up on Saturday. And with support of small business owners on Kennedy Street. This will focus just on Kennedy. So on Saturday, if you want to come out, we are providing these supplies. And we had, again, a volunteer, a neighbor, took this on. So this is going to be on Saturday. We have another slide where we can see that we are having another round of mini grants. We're asking business to stay tuned. We're going to stay tuned. We're going to roll those out shortly. We are participating in the sidewalk sale. That is on August 9th and 10th. So look out. We're encouraging virtual participation. But some of our businesses, again, that's part of the technical assistance we provide. They are not open. They're not, again, ready for e-commerce. And so some of them we may have time to do that. Certainly they're going to have to change their practices and incorporate that e-commerce. I don't think this is going to be going away anytime soon. We've also given away PPE. Now, about the PPE discussion, I want to share with you that we still have PPE. We have saved some for some of our businesses that waited till phase 2 to open, but we have some materials left. And little by little, we continue to give those out. I want folks who need it, especially masks, we still have some masks, to call us or to email us and make an appointment. And we will meet you at our storage location to give you a bag of some PPE. Mainly, we have boxes of masks. So again, the best email is info@uptownmainstreet.org, or you can text. Text is easy. That way, I don't miss it. We don't miss it. A voicemail, just text 202-270-1461. This information is on our website. So it's very easy to find. Our number is on our website. You can text, you can voicemail, you can call. We'll be happy to help our fellow business owners from Ward 4, parts of Ward 5, if they want to come out here. We have some supplies left over that we'll be happy to share. So I'm going to leave it at that. Let's see if you want to ask any questions.
Commissioner Red has a question for you.
Yes.
Thank you for your presentation.
Sure.
I have 2 questions in particular. One, if you would, for me, repeat the founding date of Uptown Main Street.
Yep, actually Main Street, if I give you a little bit of history, two organizations came together, the Coalition for Upper 14th and the Kennedy Street Collaborative. So those are two nonprofits. They came together at the end of 2017 to apply to become a DC Main Street. And so this has been a Main Street since the, oh my goodness, I have a low battery, excuse me. I'm gonna probably lose you shortly.
Well, in that case, let me get to my second question.
But the end of 2018, officially became a DC Main Street at the end of 2018. So it's very new.
Into 2018. So I heard you speak of the collaboration. I recall
Yes.
our organization owned a radio station on Kennedy Street a few years back. How does your Main Street Association conflict or meld with the Kennedy Street Development Association? Or does it? Well, it does one way or the other. Yeah, but you're not just one the same, correct?
No, no, this is now a separate nonprofit.
All right,
Yes,
thank you.
it's applied as now a separate nonprofit, its own entity. Uptown Main Street is its own entity with it. Now it's received, last year received its own IRS designation, its own nonprofit designation, and own, EIN number and all those things.
Do you have any conversations with the KDSA?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
KSDA?
Yeah,
All right.
I mean, I know that some of our board members are former board members, committee members, are folks from the community that were part of the other organizations. I encourage you to go to our website. It has a listing of all the current board members. And you'll see there, you may recognize some names, and certainly everybody's friendly. And I'm still yet to meet everybody. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic, it's been a lot of Zoom meetings, phone calls, socially distance meetings.
Understood.
And so, yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
not the
Thank
same.
you.
Okay, all right. Any more?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Commissioner Knickerbocker, and I thank you.
Yes, okay. Can you hold just a minute, babe?
Sure.
Is there someone that has their, is trying to have their computer audio on and plus you have your phone dialed in to us? Is anyone doing that? Because if so, you need to cut one of them off because you're buffering. I can't. Every other word on my computer is not coming through. So someone has a telephone that they are calling in, and plus the audio on their computer is up. So you need to cut one of them off. Thank you. Girl Scott, I'm sorry.
No, it's quite all right. And I want to thank you to Commissioner Redd for reminding me to introduce myself, because there are people on the phone that cannot actually see who's talking. So a quick question, are you accepting donations for PPE, actual physical PPE, or just monetary donations? And my reason for asking, and I would never discourage anybody from using disposable PPE. It would just be great if people were using a reusable and washable PPE.
Right.
But it's so monetary donations, or will you also accept actual
Both.
physical donations? Okay.
Certainly, I think I can speak with my colleagues. We will take both. Our businesses need both. If donations that we get, again, what we've done is re-granted money that we had for other activities. We're happy to give them the mini grants to help businesses survive. And then the PPE, we've distributed physical, again, hand sanitizer, commercial cleaning products, disinfectant, and masks. Those were the three items we were handing off, and we will continue to do that because they need it. Yeah, so thank you. Whatever.
Wonderful. Thank you.
We'll take it. I'm sure they will all say the same thing.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any more questions?
We have a couple residents who have questions.
Okay.
Miss Faith Wheeler, did you have a question for the Main Street organizations?
Yeah, I do, for the Old Tacoma Business Association. A comment and a question. Comment is, Congratulations. The DC side of the cross-jurisdictional organization looks terrific. I'm just really blown away at how good it looks. One suggestion I might have, I noticed a slide that Laura had on that looked to me like it was in the parking lot that's in front of Cycles and Starbucks and the Wolf, the Big Bad Wolf. I go there pretty often because I have pets. And I noticed the sign, Artful Framing as well. I noticed the sign at Artful Framing of when they're open and able to receive customers. But what I would suggest and wonder if it's possible for a shop like Cycles to maybe advertise itself a little bit more prominently. If I remember correctly, the slide showed some exercising, some bikes, stationary bikes outside in that parking lot. Am I remembering correctly? I hope so. But I didn't notice any kind of announcement of that on a sign on their, just a paper sign or something on their windows. And I thought that might be helpful. For noticeable storefront windows across Carroll Street, there is Busboys and Poets. And you can't help but notice them because they've got big frogs painted on their windows and that sort of thing. So I'm thinking about ways it might make a store like Cycles perhaps more noticeable to somebody who's just walking by, like I do fairly frequently. And maybe shops on 4th Street too, and with the wonderful historic globes, Washington globes, which make me very, very happy. And the stoplight, the traffic light at Butternut and Blair, which is just amazingly wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We have coming up now, we have a phone number that ends 610.
Yes, it's Jocelyn Johnson.
Go ahead.
807 Tewksbury Place. I just really have a housekeeping question. I want to understand why I don't automatically get a notification of these meetings, of these monthly meetings. How come I'm not on a regular mailing list where I would be notified about them? What's the process that I need to do, that I need to go through so that I can get the notice? I am being told at the last minute. It's better to be told than not to be told, but I want to know why everybody knows about the meeting, it appears, in advance except me.
Sure, thank you, ma'am. Aaron or somebody want to take that question?
So I'm happy to respond, Brenda, if that's okay with you. So all of our meetings are posted in several places. Our Secretary, Commissioner Palmer, posted on several local listservs. It's also posted on 2 local news sites, DC North Star and Next Stop Riggs Park. It's also updated on the website. And on the website, you can sign up to get an automated electronic calendar feed right into your Outlook or Google Calendar of all of the meetings that we hold, and you can see it right there automatically. It'll put itself right in your calendar.
Thank you, Evan. The question from the Q&A box for Laura, has Olive Lounge reopened?
Yes, they have. They are open, as well as their sister restaurant, Middle East Cuisine.
Thank you. Those are all the residents' questions.
Great.
That's all the questions?
It looks
Go ahead.
like we have more hands raised on the attendee list. I don't know.
No, Sarah has been raising her hand since the beginning. I think it's not relevant to the. Oh, hold on, Mr. Jason Levitas. Hold on. Unmute yourself, Jason. Hey, Jason, can you unmute yourself on your end there? Oh, accident. Gotcha. Adele Dantzler, hold on one second. Go ahead, ma'am.
Yes, hello. I just asked if you could place the ANC website link where we could sign up in the chat. Thank you.
I'm doing it right now.
Thank you.
Okay, that's all we have for the Main Street. Go on to the report, Metropolitan Police Department.
Gordon, I could send you the phone number for the participant from the Metropolitan Police Department.
Yep, they should be able to speak now.
Thank you.
Yep, it's Captain Connors. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Hey, thanks. Awesome. Okay, great. Thanks for having me. I'll try to keep it as brief as I can. Just a couple things I want to touch on. One thing is I want to go back to 4th of July and some of the issues that were occurring related to fireworks. With an issue that we deal with every year, I think we probably all agree that it seemed to be much more prevalent this year for some reason. It kind of snuck up on us, and I think we just saw more fireworks in more places. And I know we were pretty flooded with calls for service related to that. And that was a community complaint that I got quite often for about 2 or 3 weeks. And so I just wanted to, I want there to make sure everybody, there appeared to be a perception that we weren't really doing anything about it, but it was really quite the opposite. So every year we actually put like small task force together, and we work with the fire department, and we assign officers specifically in every single district to respond to fireworks calls and to proactively recover illegal fireworks. And this year we recovered, it ended up being like tens of thousands pieces of illegal fireworks, and we responded citywide to just thousands of calls for service related to fireworks. Unfortunately, they just didn't even seem to put a dent in those calls and the amount of fireworks that we saw out there. And, unfortunately, we did have a couple instances where people got hurt, and then we had one incident where somebody was actually killed in a fireworks accident. And so it's very serious stuff. And going into next year, we'll probably be reaching out and trying to get some more feedback and ideas and better ways to see if we can have a bigger impact going forward, because even though it seemed like we were doing a lot on our end, I don't think the public felt that, and it still seemed like a pretty serious issue. So we're going to have to work on something maybe different next year that we can try to, like I said, have a bigger impact. So I want to talk about that. Just a couple things. We had, again, serious issue. Unfortunate, we had a homicide in the 100 block of Walnut Street Northwest. We responded to a call for service. This was July 17th at approximately 11 o'clock at night. We responded to assist Tacoma Park. They had an accident at Walnut and Eastern, and when we got there, we realized that the 2 occupants of this vehicle had been shot in the 100 block of Walnut Street Northwest on the DC side, and the driver of that vehicle, he was deceased on scene, and the passenger, I believe, is now in stable condition, but he was in critical condition that night. So our homicide branch is actively investigating that case. We've got some additional police resources up there. It seems very out of the ordinary for that area. And so we're still trying to piece together what happened and what brought that kind of violence to that particular area. We had on July 20th, our detectives were able to secure a warrant and place an 18-year-old Richard Weiss under arrest for a robbery that had occurred on June 20th in the 6700 block of Georgia Avenue. It was a robbery for theft and violence where he had assaulted somebody walking in the block and took their property, and we were able to close that with an arrest. And then just recently, a couple nights ago, July 23rd, we're working on a shooting investigation in the 6400 block of 5th Street Northwest. We responded to a call for a shooting, and we located 2 juvenile males, each suffering from 1 gunshot wound, non-life-threatening. They're both already out of the hospital, but we are actively investigating that case as well. All we had was a lookout for a dark-colored vehicle speeding through the block. So that's an active investigation. And then I just touch upon some crime stats for Sector 1, which is the sector that I manage. Year to date, we have overall total crime, we have a 7% reduction. In violent crime, we have a 17% reduction. And in property crime, we have a 6% reduction. The one thing that is still driving up our overall crime are people breaking into cars. I know it's rough times right now because of the pandemic, and there's still a lot of theft and cars being broken into. So that's one thing that, you'll probably hear me say quite often about securing your vehicles and property inside of your vehicles, because that's one area where we still see an increase in crime is cars being stolen, and in particular, people breaking into cars. So, just please lock your doors and don't leave any property out visible on your back seat or anything like that. And those are the couple things I wanted to touch on, and I'm available for questions.
Thank you. Commissioners, do you have any questions? 60 seconds.
Aaron has questions.
Thank you.
Hi, Aaron.
And Scott.
Thank you. I have a couple of questions from a resident about the shooting that took place by Coolidge High School. And she wanted to know if there was any information that it was targeted or not, and on which side of the street it happened. And I was also wanting to confirm whether the Roving Leaders program operates in the area, because there was also a shooting on 3rd and Van Buren recently, and I'm just wondering what what the provision of those services is.
I didn't catch the first part of that. It kind of went out on me. So you're talking about the shooting on 5th Street? You wanted to know if that was...
Yeah, there were some questions about whether it took place on the side of the street by the school or by the houses, and also whether there was any indication that it was targeted.
Yeah, so that one in particular, that one appears, the victims in that appeared to have been targeted. It was a drive-by shooting, and they were outside. It was on the side of the street with the homes. There was nobody else outside at that time except for them, so they appear to have been the target of that. And like it was on the side with the homes. And you're right, a couple weeks prior to that, we had a shooting at 3rd and Van Buren at a group of males that were outside at the rec center. So our response to that is we have put a special beat officer. So we now have an officer specifically assigned to kind of a short block area, which covers Van Buren down to Rittenhouse. There's been a spike. We had those 2 shootings about a month apart, and then we actually had some morning robberies that were occurring all kind of in this area. So we put an officer who's specifically assigned to that area now, and then our crime suppression team has really been flooding that area. And one thing that we've seen that has given us some positive results, we've actually recovered several stolen cars, all within those couple of blocks. And so it's, on one hand, it's a little disturbing that we're seeing this many stolen cars, but now because of our enhanced enforcement that we're recovering them, we're getting crime scene to process them, we're getting them off the street so they can't be used in more crimes. And then we're hoping after our crime scene, if we get any fingerprints or DNA back, we might actually be able to close some cases. So I think it's having an impact, but those are some of the extra resources that we've had to put specifically in that area.
Okay, and just a real quick follow-up. My understanding is that Roving Leaders does not operate around the Tacoma Rec Center. Is that right?
So if that's, if that's one of the violence interrupters that work out of the one's office, none of those groups operate up there. The only area that I know of they work in the 4th District is the Kennedy Street corridor.
Okay, it's slightly separate. It runs out of DPR, but I think you're right that there's no violence interruption for that area.
Yeah, in the DPR, I was hoping that when we got back into phase 2, I would be able to, reach out to them and see if they were going to be able to implement any summer programs. But my understanding is that what DPR is able to do right now because of the pandemic is very limited.
Can I jump
in? Any more questions? Thank you, Mary. Any more questions from the commissioners?
Yeah, I have one.
Yes, Jeff.
Okay, so I just wanted to thank you, Captain, for being here tonight. I wanted to jump back to the Walnut Street incident and just see if you could elaborate a little bit on what kind of additional resources are being brought to bear. Just because, as you mentioned, it seems like a sleepy area, but we've had some issues. We had a problem house on the 200 block of Whittier Street, where there was a lot of drug-related activity, and other complaints that I've heard as you move sort of further east to Eastern. We've tried to get MPD's attention for the last year or so, really since a couple incidents where there were shots fired late in evenings in May of last year. And so I just appreciate anything you can do to elaborate a little bit more on that and, boost enforcement.
Yeah, so I've been here since May of this year. So to be honest with you, this is kind of new information to me. I didn't realize you had a previous incident last year. There are a couple specific homes, some addresses that have been emailed to me that might be kind of problem spots that I'm looking into. But, since my time here at the 4th District, this seemed completely out of the blue. I was actually on scene for this one, and I was very surprised at what I saw. It just seemed very out of the ordinary. So that's PSA 401. So I have the 401 sergeant and the officers. They have basically an assignment to kind of check on this area multiple times throughout the tour to see if they can spot any activity that might be suspicious or, a home or, something that might be bringing, because all the 2 victims involved in this are not from there. We have no idea what brought them there. And so that's what we're looking for now is, what was drawing them to this area. Is there a house that might be selling narcotics or something like that? We just don't know. And so any information that anybody who lives in that area can send me would be really appreciated because it would really help cater my response on what I need to do over there.
Okay, well, thank you for that. And I'll pass along more info as I receive it. I don't think we really understand it either. It just seems like cars come in, it's just 1 or 2 blocks into the district. I don't know why, but we'll pass along info.
Yeah, it's right on the border of Tacoma Park. So we were talking with them on scene that night, and that's one of the things that I need to do is follow up with them because it's kind of a weird jurisdictional issue because it's us, Tacoma Park, and Montgomery County all kind of split that area up, and all 3 of us were on scene processing that night. So that's something that I need to do, follow up with them and see if they've seen anything on their side of Eastern Avenue.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Commissioner Knickerbocker?
No problem.
I'll go after you.
Thank you very much. And also, thank you to Captain Porter for initially talking about the 6400 block of 5th Street and to Commissioner Palmer for following up on that. There's also been several armed robberies in the neighborhood, and I'm thinking particularly of the one near the Safeway on Piney Branch. Captain Porter, can you elaborate on, or can you share any additional information on those armed robberies?
Yeah, so Captain Porter, I'm actually Captain Connors. I took over for Captain Porter in
I'm
May.
sorry, Captain Connors. My apologies.
No, it's no problem. So we have, like I said, we have had, there was kind of a spat of robberies that occurred in the morning. In particular, like you mentioned, the one on Piney Branch, we had on Saturday. It started off in the morning, and actually throughout the day, we had like 3 or 4 robberies in different parts of the city that all appeared to be linked. And we have some, just that investigation, it would be pure speculation to say it's related to that shooting on 5th Street. That would be more of a strong hunch on my part. But we do have some good images that our detectives were able to capture on security camera footage. We do have a vehicle that we're actively looking for. That investigation is looking very promising. I'm really hoping within the next week or 2, I'll be able to report some arrests related to those robberies. But that's part of the work that we're doing in that area, recovering these stolen cars. Now, as we recover them, more cars get stolen, and it's kind of a vicious cycle. But the fact that we're able to kind of, I think, stay ahead of it a little faster than we were before, now that we know where to look. And I'm really hoping that as our crime scene units process them, we'll get some evidence back and maybe even close some previous cases from the weeks or even months prior. But our detectives are all over it. And I'm really, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, I'll have some good news for that.
Okay. Thank you, Captain. And again, my apologies.
Yeah, no problem.
Captain Connors, Commissioner Red, question I have for you. I've been in conversations with Commander Griffin about an incident last year at 7th and Longfellow, and I was assured that we would have a report with some sort of resolution, a naming of the officers or officers that were captured on video, unnecessarily exacting force on some residents. I haven't heard anything, and I want to put that on your radar, just for you to inform the 4D. I will be raising that issue in a more public forum. I've waited a year to get a response. That's one issue. The other issue I have is there was a shooting at 7th and Kennedy. A drive-by shooting where a business on the corner of 7th and Kennedy had its window shot out. So I wanted to ask you if you have any update regarding that, and I'll take your answer.
Yeah, so your first question about 7th and Longfellow about a possible excessive force investigation, that was probably before I got here, so I'll have to follow up and see exactly what incident you're referring to and where we're at with that investigation. As far as the shooting on 7th and Kennedy, yeah, we did have a couple weeks ago. This was in the afternoon, broad daylight, very dangerous situation. We had 2 people that got struck, both non-life-threatening injuries, but still, very serious. And then the business on the corner there. We do have some security camera images of the vehicle that we're looking for that, as far as I know, we have not located yet. So that's just something that the detectives are currently working, but I don't have any additional information that there haven't been any arrests related to that case.
Thank you, Captain Connors.
Commissioner Yates here. This is sort of a follow-up on the Walnut Street incident, but also more broadly, Captain. Post a string of incidents in the beginning of 2019, the Tacoma Park Police Department and the Metropolitan Police Department were working on a memorandum of understanding about cross-border operations and cooperation. My understanding at the time was that they were very close to reaching agreement on that memorandum. I have, however, learned in the last 2 months from the police chief in Tacoma Park that MPD abandoned those discussions and has shown no interest in reaching a cross-border cooperation agreement. Can I ask why MPD has decided not to participate in that way, and what sort of structure your cooperation is working under when you backed away from that process?
So I was not a part of the discussions in reference to an MOU. I can tell you we don't need an MOU to work together. Our detectives still collaborate on investigations all the time. On the night of that homicide, we collaborated with no issues. A lot of times when different agencies want to work together, like say put a task force together, what really ends up hindering that in most cases are our policies don't match. So, you know, for instance, we have a very robust body camera policy where, you know, we film everything that we do. We have a very strict standard when it comes to uses of force. And so, you know, and I'm only speculating, but a lot of times the hiccup is we're working with an agency, and if they don't meet our standard or our policies don't match, then, you know, the idea that us having a task force wouldn't work out. And that's just all a task force enables us to do is to kind of cross the border a little more seamlessly when things are actively going on. But that doesn't mean we're not working together. We definitely work together. We definitely communicate. We definitely share evidence and footage and resources. It's just we just do it in a different way. But so I haven't seen any indication that we've been hindered by not working more closely with them. That, you know, I don't see that as a problem right now.
It's good though, because if that's what you think the concerns are, it gives me something to follow up with Chief Duvall on.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely look into it. That's not a problem, and see what occurred, because that is new to me. But like I said, we would still work with them in different ways.
Okay, thank you. I see two questions out here from Adelia Danzler. Are these shootings related to neighborhood crews, or would the officer station be walking through the neighborhoods?
So what was the question? Are we walking through the neighborhood?
The question is, are these shootings related to neighborhood crews?
Yeah, I think
specifically asking about 3rd Street.
Excuse me. Go ahead, sir.
I think it's a real possibility, and that is definitely a part of the investigation. And we work with our intelligence branch who kind of monitors crew activity. And so our detectives, like one of the first things we do is we reach out to them, and that's a part of the analysis, and that can kind of guide our investigation, where it goes, if we're looking at a person of interest. And so I can't speak definitively to that because it's a part of the investigation, but that is definitely something that gets looked at and analyzed.
Okay. This gentleman, he's talking about
Brenda, just real quick, the other question was if officers stationed will be walking through the neighborhoods. And I think that's, again,
yes,
discussion about special beat officers and whether they'll be walking.
And will they wear masks when they walk?
Yeah, so one, in reference to the mask, we definitely comply with the guidelines. You know, if we get out of our vehicle and we are in close proximity to somebody, our officers are going to be wearing their mask. There's no doubt about it. We wear a mask in our own police station. If you are not in a room by yourself, then we're wearing a mask. And we've been issued
pictures where officers are not doing so. I appreciate your confidence in that, but I'm asking for a reason. So thank you for your response.
So yeah, if their officers aren't doing it, then we address it, and that's our job as supervisors to correct them and make sure that they're wearing it, and we'll continue to do that. As far as walking through the neighborhood, Yeah, it's not a one size fit all. I mean, I think there are definitely some instances where that is very appropriate. As the summer goes on, we have a plan on Kennedy Street where we have mountain bike officers and we have foot beat officers that will be walking around that area. And you'll start to see the MPD tent get set up so we can start doing some community outreach now that we're in the different phases of reopening. But we'll still, we'll still be keeping our distance and wearing our masks, but we'll at least be a little more visible out there. And the same thing, if an officer, if they see a group hanging out outside, then they should be getting out of the car, walking up and talking to that group, and being visible outside of their vehicle. And that's something that we work on, and we try to teach the officers, how to engage the different community and the different people hanging out in a positive way, and to see them out of the vehicle interacting with people. So it's definitely something we should be doing.
Okay. That's all the questions?
No, just one more. And my question is regarding the safety and protection, the COVID practice and protocol. My neighborhood is number 7 on the infections list. Will you be enforcing how will you be enforcing the mayor's mask order of July 22nd?
So we will not be enforcing it from a criminal perspective. There won't be anybody arrested or anything like that.
Sure.
But we will be out interacting with people, reminding them of the mayor's order, encouraging them to wear masks. And if it's related to a business not complying with the mayor's order, then we'll refer that to the appropriate agency in case they need to be fined or something like that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, 4D, for coming. Thank you for answering, and great information that you had given us. Yes, Aaron.
We have a few people with hands raised as well.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't see their hands.
That's okay.
I didn't see them.
Sure. Hold on with Miss Wheeler.
Okay.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Thanks. 3 quick matters. One is about fireworks. It's often very difficult for a layperson to distinguish between fireworks and gunshots. That was certainly the matter in our general area here around Tacoma and Shepherd Park. A lot of discussion on our listservs. Was that fireworks? Was it gunshots? Was it what? And I should think that, I wondered if there's legislation needed to limit fireworks to just, for example, the nights of Memorial Day and July 4th, and limited to maybe shutting down at 11 p.m. or midnight. Just in my street, my short block here, there was somebody, as an example of how difficult and nuisance, what a nuisance the fireworks are. There was somebody a few nights in a row just running up and down the street, shooting off fireworks. And that was about 2 o'clock in the morning. Well, I'm wondering if there's some way to limit that annoyance. So that's the first point. The other, roving leaders, I wondered if Captain Connors, and thanks for being available for these questions, Captain, do you have any idea how many there are in DC, for all of DC? As I recall, unless this has changed, as I recall a few years ago, there were a very low number, like maybe 20 for all of DC or something like that. Often people, or I've seen questions raised, well, what about the roving leaders? Why aren't they here? But there were so few, and so much was expected of roving leaders through the many, many, many parks in DC, it would be impossible for them to take care of the concerns. So that's a question. I wonder how many, if he knows. Third matter is in regard to the cross-jurisdictional nature of some crimes, I guess you'd say, easily like the one on Walnut Street that began in DC and crossed over Eastern Avenue into Maryland. A question that has been on the minds of some folks for quite a long time is, is there an agreement with Tacoma Park, Maryland Police and perhaps Montgomery County Police, if that's needed, for being able to cross over readily without going through some sort of, I don't know, request for permission when something is immediately going on that needs immediate attention, so that there is communication and collaboration between the two forces, so that we can be more effective with Tacoma Park Police and they with us.
Thank you, Faith. Go ahead, Captain.
So I'll start with the question about fireworks. So basically, what you're describing is already a crime. I would say 90% of the fireworks that you hear out there are illegal. The issue isn't whether or not they're illegal, because they are. One, the deterrent factor is probably not there. Essentially, it's a $25 fine for having illegal fireworks or setting them off. That doesn't really appear to discourage anybody. And then the second problem is there are more people shooting off fireworks than I have officers to respond to that. So it's really just a numbers game. There are just too many blocks where fireworks are being shot off than I have the ability to send officers out there to catch them all. I mean, we do the best we can, but they're going to Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Virginia. This is where they're not buying their fireworks in DC. They're traveling to different states and then bringing them back down. The few times we've recovered illegal fireworks, they're telling us that they bought them in Pennsylvania. So we'll continue to do the best we can with that. As far as roving leaders go, that's just I'm probably not the best person to answer that question. Probably Department of Public Recs would be more appropriate. I don't want to speak for them and give bad information. And then last question in relation to our ability to kind of cross jurisdictions. I don't really have a simple answer for that. It really depends on the situation. But if there's an active crime occurring, we as law enforcement officers can take immediate action. And if we have to notify Tacoma Park, or they have to notify us to come, after the fact, then that's what we do. But there's no case where we can't take immediate police action to something that is occurring, in our presence. The law does give us the ability to do that. So.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Griffin, P. Griffin, or ma'am, I should say.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I wanted to ask the officer, in light of the efforts that have been brought about by some members of the community to defund the police, which I'm not really in favor of, is there anything the police have to do now that they would welcome being able to give to another group, or have some funds diverted to another group that they would have some responsibility that they could identify that they would welcome having another group or a special assigned group to manage so they can do their job more effectively?
Thank you, ma'am.
Really not probably for me to speak on behalf of the whole department. We will kind of do whatever we're asked to do. So, we will probably, based off the budget that was passed, we are going to have to go into a hiring freeze, and we are going to reduce our force by a couple hundred members. So there will have to be adjustments that are going to be made. I don't know what they're going to be as of yet. Over the next year, there might be different things that we no longer do. I'm not really sure how that's going to play out right now. I think that's all still being developed, so I don't have a simple answer for that. But there probably will be some adjustments going forward, and whatever those policies are, that's what we'll implement.
Thank you, Captain. Those are all the questions we have, Brenda.
Brenda has stepped away for a second, so I think we're ready to move on to the council member's office, and Dolly Turner is. Thank you, Captain.
No problem. I hope everybody enjoys the rest of your evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Aaron. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, wonderful. Is this no video? I'm just asking.
Oh no, sorry about that. Hold on. You should be able to go. Oh no, that's Brenda's that lit up.
I see Dolly. She's muted. Oh, there you go.
Okay. All right, here we go. I'm going to give you a couple of, well, good evening, everybody. I hope everybody's summer's going well. I'm going to start off by providing a few updates on the budget, and I'm going to zero in on some of the Ward 4 benefits or, projects, line items that have been dedicated for Ward 4 projects. This week in the council member's newsletter, he's going to provide a comprehensive breakdown of the budget. If you have any questions in particular afterwards, I'm happy to answer those, but I'll use the time to focus on Ward 4 because the budget summary is rather lengthy. So for Ward 4, for the capital projects, he was able to maintain and increase all funding for school modernizations in Ward 4 for 4.1 million for Dorothy Height, an increase in the Dorothy Height modernization budget by 4.1 million, 22 million for Barnard, 4.4 million for Whittier, 64 million for Truesdale, 62 million for Raymond, 35 million for West Education Campus. He also maintained and increased all funding for parks and recreation capital projects in Ward 4. 7 million in additional funds for the new pool at Walter Reed, 12 million, making that 12 million in total, 12 million for Upshur Recreation, 5 million for Tacoma Aquatic Center renovations. And those are some of the key things for Ward 4. Again, we are going to have a very detailed update on the budget in this week's newsletter. So as not to take up too much time, you can refer to the newsletter this week. I think that you all had some questions about a couple of DPR projects, and the response to those are, in terms of the, one moment. I think one of the questions was about, here we go. Hold on. Oh, here we go. Well, let me just tell you. The Tacoma Dog Park is construction is going to start at the end of August. It'll go through December. For the Tacoma Aquatic Center, the timeline for that is, one moment. Sorry, I'm having a little email. That's scheduled to start for the Aquatic Center. It will start in 2021. All $5 million remains for the project in the budget, and about $1 million this year for the design, and $4 million in 2021. And for Aspen Street, there was a community meeting last month on 7/9 with DDOT and the ANC commissioners. They're at 65% design phase. The design will be finished by the end of the year. Construction is set to begin in the summer of 2020. Oh, the construction was set to begin. Oh, it's scheduled to begin the summer of 2021, but that will also be contingent upon COVID. Any other questions? No?
Hearing none.
Okay.
Oh, wait, hold on. We have a couple of hands.
Okay.
Sorry, for some reason, my space bar isn't working to unmute me. Hi, Dolly. How are you tonight?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Thank you. So we had this, and I'm sorry to my fellow commissioners that I missed the last DDOT meeting that we had. So we had the Rock Creek livability study done not too long ago. What can we do while our current council member is still in office to get some of those projects funded?
That's a great question. We're meeting with the DDOT director on Thursday of this week. So I'm happy to send out an email to all the commissioners. Yes, we're waiting to find out too what portion of the East Rock Creek livability study is funded, and we've been waiting for quite a while. Apparently they needed a lot of time to assess all of the data that they collected and to make some prioritizations, wait for this budget to be approved. And now that this budget has been approved, we'll have a better idea of how it's going to, obviously it's going to happen in phases, right? This livability, the implementation of all the recommendations is going to happen over 2 to 5 years. The question was going to be, what's going to happen in the first 2 years? So yes, we will come back to you. We're also very anxious to learn that.
Okay, Miss Griffin, hold on one sec. Oh, sorry, Scott.
Just want to say thank you. That's all.
Miss Griffin. Hold.
Yes, as someone who is really missing my Tacoma swimming pool, the renovations that you said we're going to have the millions of dollars renovation, will any of that be done during the pandemic? So when we can return, it'll already be done, or when the pandemic is lifted, will we have to wait? Because before the pandemic, we went without the facility for quite a while it was being worked on.
That's a good question. You know, the information that I have right now is that there's design and then there's construction, and construction is set to begin next summer. So, you know, a lot of things right now really depend on COVID. It's an indoor pool, so I don't know. An indoor pool seems a little bit. I would be concerned about being in an indoor pool.
Thank you. Hold on one second. We have phone number ending 610.
Yes, it's Jocelyn Johnson again. You muted me as soon as you acknowledged me on the last question about being able to sign up, and I wasn't able to ask my follow-up question, although I've been listening to others ask their follow-up question. So what I want to do is I do have a question for Dolly. I wanted to find out, because she didn't say anything about the Coolidge track opening, anything on that. And I did have a question for the police officer, but you let him go. But on the issue about the meetings, I would like to know, I wanted to follow up to understand, is it my responsibility to sign up for what you're saying, or can I ask you, Scott, to sign me up, or send me the link so that I can sign up? Because I do not want to miss the meeting.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It's your responsibility to add the calendar to your electronic calendar service. We don't have access to your electronic. We provide an automated feed that anybody can sign up to, but I can't sign you up for it.
And Dolly, did you hear the question? I think it was Coolidge High School track.
Yes, I sure did. I don't know the answer to that. I text someone, so if you don't mind just checking the chat box, the response I've gotten so far from my colleague who works on the Tacoma Aquatic Center, I'll answer that question first, is right now he's assuming that no, the pool will not be open before construction is complete, ma'am. And then in terms of the Coolidge track, I'll try to get an answer for you during the meeting and I'll put it in the chat box. I did want to let Commissioner Red know that in the fiscal year 21 budget, there is money available that's related to Lot 29 for soil assessment and a few other things. And I was in touch with the DOEE lead. So I think she'll be talking to the community soon about
Yes. Thank you very much, Ms. Turner. That's good to hear. I can pass that along.
that. Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you
Dolly.
so much, Dolly.
Thank you
Any
all.
more questions? Be safe.
Okay, thanks. You too.
All right.
We have, oh, go ahead, Brenda, you're back.
Okay, we have the mayor office. Keyshawn,
Yes, we do.
Mr. Harris.
I saw him. There he is. Go ahead, Keyshawn.
Mr. Harris, you on? Keyshawn?
Yeah, he should be unmuted on. There's your face. We can see you.
We hear you. We don't hear you. Hello?
Do you want to go to Frazier?
Yeah, I'll go to the next. Mr. Frazier?
Okay.
Mr. O'Leary?
He's there. I'm just adding him.
We'll come back to Deshaun.
Hey, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, we can now. Yes, sir.
Is the camera working or?
Just speak.
Okay. All right. Hello, everybody. I am Keyshawn Harris, one of the Ward 4 representatives for Mayor Bowser. First, I want to say thank you for your attendance in this meeting and being an active part of our community. I also want to say thank you for helping us navigate this new normal in our country, in the world.
Well, Keyshawn, you got a beautiful picture.
Thank you. And so I just have a few brief updates for you from Mayor Bowser's office. I'm going to try to get through them as quick as I can. Starting next month, the U.S. Census will start sending out census takers to physically knock on residents' doors. So we ask that you please complete your census. Nationwide, the response rate has been 62%. And in D.C., we are at 58.5%. And so the mayor and I won't be happy until we try to hit that 100% goal. And we're doing pretty well in ANC 4B. So please complete your census online via phone or via their app or turn in your paper application. It's been hot lately in the District of Columbia. So in the event of a heat emergency, the mayor will activate the 2 cooling stations that we have here in Ward 4. The first one is at Petworth Recreation Center and the second is at Hamilton Recreation Center. And if a resident needs transporting to these centers, they can simply dial 311. Last week, Mayor Bowser extended our public health emergency until October 9th, and that includes our protections for residents who are renting and to keep them from being evicted, as well as for utilities. An update from our contact trace task force. They will now start conducting home visits and community outreach to residents who have tested positive for COVID-19, as well as their established contacts who have been placed in isolation or quarantine. This team will go out and assess these residents' needs to see if they need additional social services, as well as alternative housing, food, and medication. Additionally, the mayor issued a mask order last week saying that masks are mandatory in the District of Columbia, and on coronavirus.dc.gov, we have listed all of the exceptions to that order. Additionally, the mayor has issued a self-quarantine order for residents who are coming and visitors who are coming to the District of Columbia after traveling for non-essential travel. Those 27 states are Arkansas, Arizona, Alabama, California, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Iowa, Kansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Mexico, North Carolina, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, the state of Washington, and Wisconsin. And this list will be updated every 2 weeks on the coronavirus.dc.gov site. And then we invite residents and business owners alike to join us for our weekly economic recovery town hall on tomorrow at 4 p.m., as well as our community leader call every Wednesday at 5 p.m. DC is now offering free antibody testing in Hillcrest, Tacoma Park, Canal Park, and residents interested in receiving one of those serology tests can go to DC Health to make that appointment via phone or online. And then finally, Ward 4 on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, weather permitting, at the Engine 24 station on Georgia and Gallatin Street. Residents can go from 4 to 8 p.m. to receive a free COVID-19 test. And with that, I am happy to take any questions you all may have.
Commissioners, y'all have any questions?
Commissioner Red. Keyshawn, thank you for your service. Listen, I think the mayor's doing as good a job as she can do. I think she's doing far beyond what many governors across the station are doing, across the country are doing. As far as our district state, are there additional resources being put into Ward 4? And I ask this question being that the Ward 4 has, throughout the city, some of the highest infection rates. I mean, we're at the top of the list when we look at 16th Street Heights and Columbia Road and Brightwood Park in ANC. We are among the highest of infection rates. Mm-hmm. So my question for the mayor's office, are there additional resources, or is it just that, you know, that's just the way things are going?
Gotcha.
Thank you. Put into Ward 4.
Sure. Thank you, Commissioner Red. So that will be the goal of our contact trace task force, being that they will be able to now conduct home visits and go out in the wards and conduct community outreach and engagement to talk to residents who have tested positive or who are in situations where they aren't able to isolate or quarantine like they should. So we are able to provide the alternative housing, food and medication. So that's the primary goal of these investigators that we've brought on to our team to help us navigate this public health emergency. But we are open to fresh ideas on how we should be engaging residents so that we can definitely take that back to our DC Health team. Do you have any suggestions?
Oh, I do. I truly do. I mean, we have 372 infections in Brightwood Park. I'm concerned about it. Mm-hmm. And I do have some suggestion or two, and they didn't come specifically from me. You know, my fellow constituents brought up some issues, so I'll be glad to pose them to you.
Awesome. I can, instead of taking up time out of me, I can ping you offline.
Thank you very much, Mocha Harris. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Brenda, question if I could. Sean, thanks for joining us. We always appreciate it. Given that you probably don't have any inside information about the decision coming about schools, I'll skip you on that one. I did want to ask you, I have had a lot of people ask me about pandemic EBT and some confusing mailers they're getting about that. Can you explain how that
that about EBT?
The pandemic EBT program for people with school children.
Let's see. I do know that we, so based on the public health emergency, residents do not have to reapply for their an extension of their benefits if they were to expire at any point during the public health emergency, as well as they're able to now use their SNAP benefits to purchase food on and items online at Amazon.com, but I'm not familiar with the one for school-age children, so I can get some information and follow back up with you if that's okay.
Okay. Any more questions for Deshawn? Keyshawn, I'm sorry, Keyshawn.
It's okay, Commissioner.
No questions.
No, no more questions? Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you guys
Okay,
so much.
all right. Fraser O'Leary, you on? I'm on. I'm ready to roll.
Go ahead, sir.
Good evening, everyone. The mayor on Friday, the 31st of July, is going to announce what's going to happen with the schools at the end of August on the 31st. In June, we had 27 teachers testify at our State Board of Education meeting. All of them testified that they were not ready to go back into schools because they didn't think it would be safe. In July, we had over 50 teachers testify. If you think this is a long meeting, our meeting ended at 11:46. It started at 6 o'clock. Oh, 5 o'clock, I'm sorry. And all of them felt the same way. There's amazing testimony being given by educators. I just want you to understand that 40% of the teachers that teach in DCPS live in Prince George's County. Just let that sink in. If they have children, Prince George, all the counties in the metropolitan area are going virtual through the first semester. The school boards in all of those counties, Montgomery, Prince George's County, Arlington, Alexandria, Fairfax, all of the school boards decided to go virtual. We were not even asked to take part in the reopened DC committees. There was no member of the State Board of Education who even testified or was part of the committee to figure out what was going to happen with the schools. That's a tragedy, and you need to look into that when you vote. One of the biggest problems that's going to happen if the mayor decides to go virtual is the inequity with technology throughout the city. And that's something if the mayor says that we're going virtual, you cannot relax. We need to keep the foot on the pedal to make sure that every child in this city has access to the internet and access to a computer. That's my news about that. Now here's the good news. As you know, I've been collecting books and passing them out. The books go to all the food sites, Roosevelt, LaSalle Bacchus, Truesdale, and Coolidge. Last week, and there are 2 schools that have pickups of groceries on Wednesday at Coolidge and Thursday at Brightwood. Last week at Brightwood, there were over 1,000 books that were taken away in less than a half an hour by the people who were there to pick up bags from Central Kitchen and different organizations in the city. That was just fantastic. Michelle Martin, who is on NPR, a journalist on NPR, put together a book drive. I'm sure you heard about it over the listserv. And we collected almost 5,000 books. We distributed almost 1,000 books to Roosevelt, almost 1,000 books to Coolidge, and over 750 books to Ida B. Wells in the last 3 weeks. We're still doing it. I've got a full house of books. I'm ready to do it. And we're going to, hopefully we're going to go virtual. We're going to need communities. Y'all need to go in, get all those books that your children had when they were little and that you haven't thrown away yet, and I'll come get them, or you can deliver them to my house, whatever it takes for us to get the books so that kids will have books to read and with their families while they're going on virtual learning. And one other thing, the roving leaders are working, and DPR does have programs right now working. So if you want to get in touch with DPR and the roving leaders, and I know that Rob Nickens, the basketball coach at Roosevelt, is a roving leader, and one of our all-time great basketball players at Cardozo, Greg Jones, is also a roving leader, and they're working all summer long so that there are roving leaders, but we need to have more. And anything else I'll answer questions about. Thank you. Thank you. Any questions, commissioners? Do we have any hands up? Mr. Frazier, thank you. You're doing a wonderful job with the books. Oh, it's Thank you so much. it's such a wonderful experience to go to the schools after I've been there on Monday and get there on Thursday, and there aren't any books there. That's As truly a blessing. As an English teacher, that's big time for me. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Okay, so I want to thank Dolly and Keyshawn and Frazier. I want to thank you three for giving us updates of the city. Thank you so much. And yes, Frazier, I'm gonna have to go through my granddaughter books, and I give you a call. All right, consent calendar. We have 2 resolutions on our consent calendar for this evening. Resolution 4B 200701. ANC 4B, request for mandatory use of masks during COVID-19 pandemic. And we have resolution 4B 200702, ANC 4B, additional recommendations on the Metropolitan Branch Trail. So can I get a motion on these 2 calendars, 2 resolutions?
I move that we accept the 2 resolutions on the consent calendar at this time.
I'll second.
All right, it's been moved and second that we accept the 2 resolutions on the calendar. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Nays? Okay, ayes have it. And we have resolution 4B 200703, opposing expansion of Renaissance Center for Cultural Home Daycare at 240 Quackenbos Street Northwest. And this is Commissioner Brooks.
So this resolution this issue has come before the commission before. Back in 2018, the owner of Renaissance Daycare Center initially came to the commission asking to be on the agenda. She appeared in January of 2019. At that time, she asked for a letter of support to increase her home daycare business. Since that time, some of the parameters surrounding the expansion have changed, and she's going from a home daycare business to a home daycare center, which is a distinction in the law which allows her to leave the home and not reside in the home. And so conversations with regard to the potential expansion continued from 2018 throughout 2019. During the summer of 2019, the owner appeared at my SMB meeting, and in addition attended a neighborhood association Citizens Aware monthly meeting to discuss the expansion.
Can you speak up just a little bit louder, sweetheart? Can you speak up a little bit louder?
Is that better?
Yes, thank you.
Eventually, you know, the wheels of justice take time to turn. And so it took a while before the time the documents were submitted until the home actually was placarded and supposed to appear before BZA. So in February of 2020, the house was placarded, and it slowly came to my attention that the residents within 200 feet of the property had not received a written notification. And a meeting was held in early March before quarantine actually took effect with residents, with the business owner. And at that time, it was agreed that we would request a month extension with the BZA in the hopes of allowing everyone to get on the same page with regard to this event. Because of course, no one hates daycares, no one hates children. Everyone understands that there's a need for additional daycare slots throughout the city. And then at that point, COVID hit. So there wasn't at that point an ability to have an in-person meeting, but it was also very clear that the owner of the property and the residents are and the surrounding neighbors, are on very different pages, and that a compromise wasn't going to happen. So because of COVID, BZA's meetings were postponed, and it wasn't April that the meeting was held. It actually was late July. In that meeting, the case was heard for 5 hours. We heard testimony from all sides. I was not the only commissioner on the BZA hearing. So, you know, Commissioner Huff could also give testimony with regard to the meeting if she so chooses. However, the outcome of that meeting with the BZA was that they have requested a resolution from the commission with regard to our position on the daycare center. While initially we supported the increase of from 9 students to 20 students for a home daycare, unfortunately, I am now putting forward a resolution in opposition to an increase to 20 and a home daycare center. One, the plans for the construction have never been brought to the ANC. We've not seen any plans with regard to this or had the opportunity to weigh in on those plans. Two, there's clearly opposition from the neighbors immediately adjacent to the daycare center. And also, I'm sorry, in my sort of timeline of events, I neglected to mention that there was also a meeting this past Saturday with my SMD, and Commissioner Palmer was able to listen into that call as well. And so she can attest to what she heard if that's needed. But so currently, you know, this is where we stand. And at this time, I'm putting forth a resolution to oppose the daycare and the plan for the daycare center. And I'm happy to answer any questions from commissioners if there are any. Yes, Commissioner Red.
Thank you, Commissioner Brooks. My question to you is this: if no plans have been submitted as far as construction of the expansion,
right?
Then how did they get before the BZA? Did they not submit any plans to the BZA either?
They did submit them to the BZA, but they should have been submitted to the ANC, and they were not.
Understood. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
One point of clarification. This is 240 Quackenbow Street Northeast, correct?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I think we...
It's just a typo. I'll change it.
Yeah, I just, for anyone listening in, I think all of us know that it's northeast, but just clarifying. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
We have questions from the public, if you'd like to take those.
I have a question if I can. LaBria Huff 4B09. So I thought part of the opposition weighed in with respect to what's deemed a pop-up, right? And so when that part came into play, there was further concern of the changing of the community, the allowance for other people to possibly do that. So that was the flag as it relates to my concern and the concern of other residents. While it was okay at the 20, when they started raising the building, there was concern about the, you know, the composition of the community. So is that correct? Am I stating that, Commissioner Brooks?
That is a concern. And yes, the plans that are submitted to BZA do have a pop-up associated with it. But in fairness, I think there's also a major concern with regard to the fact that the resident or the owner of the business will not reside in the home after all is said and done. In conversations prior to Saturday, the resident had indicated that they had to move out if the daycare center, if it converts to a center. In my conversations with BZA, I learned that that is not the case. The way the regulation is written, it indicates that the resident may, but does not have to move out. So I hope that I have sort of clearly laid out the major concerns for the property. I don't want to get into another 5-hour meeting. I know that there are a lot of residents from my SMD on the call tonight, and we've had the opportunity over the last 2 years or a year and a half to hear that opposition. And I don't think that it has changed since Saturday. But, you know, if residents want to speak, that is their right. So if there are no other questions from commissioners, then I turn it over. But I don't know, Brenda, if you want to answer questions before I make my motion or afterwards.
Okay, repeat that again, sweetheart.
I don't know if you want to take questions before or after I make my motion.
Okay, we're gonna take questions before. Questions?
Okay, hold on one second. Mr. Thomas, you'll be first. You have 1 minute. Go ahead, sir.
Good evening, commissioners. I just want to make one thing clear, and that's that during the course of submitting documents, Ms. Hondo submitted a document that was brought to the Citizens Aware or neighborhood organization when I served as president, where she asked for signatures in support of increasing her numbers to 20. And at that time, that was the only thing that she was seeking support of. Exhibit 39 that she entered into the record of the BZA hearing, she significantly altered the document, adding language to the document that was not present when we signed the document. And she's essentially made it look like that individuals in the community are in support of it, which we aren't. I actually testified under oath to the fact that this document had been significantly altered. And I'm actually in conversation with their general counsel and the DC Attorney's General Counsel office as well, so they can pursue this matter on a fraud charge, a fraud case. So just want to make that known to the community.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Thompson.
Cynthia, you should be able to speak. Go ahead, ma'am.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello. I just wanted to speak a little bit about the, I'm Cynthia Davis from the DC Family Child Care Association. Ms. Hondo has been a colleague of mine for a long time. I wanted to talk about I heard her, the ANC Commission say that that's not true, that you can live in a facility once you convert it from a center, from a family home to a center. That's not true. DCRA has prohibited all of us from living in, they said because currently I have 9 children, which is expanded. I have also previously went through ANC Commission to get some support and to 12. And after that, they told us that if you go beyond 12 children, you can no longer live in the property. So that I'm not sure as to who told the ANC Commission that you can live there. You can only live there if it's 12 children. Once you go beyond the 12 children mark, you can no longer live there because that facility will be marked as a center, and you cannot live in a child development center.
Thank you, ma'am.
So, Gordon, let me respond to that. I was provided the information by the BZA. I forwarded that information to the owner of the daycare. I'm happy to forward it to anyone else. I very specifically asked BZA for their expertise, and their answer was that while they may live there, they have the option not to. That's not me that made that up. So I can only go by what I'm told by the BZA in that example. Also, quite honestly, if she's not going to live there, that actually doesn't help the feeling from the neighbors in the community, because what they really don't want is a business in their residential community. So if I am wrong and she can't live there, I think you'll find when you call on the rest of the residents that are slated to speak, that's not going to be satisfying to them either.
Okay, Rodney Fox.
Any more questions?
Yes, ma'am. Rodney Foxworth, you should be able to speak now. Hold on, let me unmute you. Okay, it looks like you're having trouble speaking. We're gonna go ahead to Frederica Biggs. Hold on. Mr. Foxworth, can you speak?
Yeah.
Can everyone hear me?
Barely.
Ask him to raise his volume.
Volume up. Is this loud enough?
No.
A little more.
Okay, I'm gonna go to 100. What about that?
Go to 100.
Yes, that's better.
Is that better? Okay.
Go ahead, sir.
Hi, Commissioner. Thank you guys for adding this to the agenda, and certainly thanks Commissioner Brooks for her hard work on this. I'm coming before you as the president of the Lamont Ridge Citizens Association. The board took a vote on this matter probably 3 weeks ago. We sent a letter to the Board of Zoning Adjustment in opposition to this. Our concern was that if you grant a special exception for a third-story addition, and if you grant a special exception for what is essentially a pop-up, it's going to be like the crack in the dam that allows anybody to come before the BZA and to use the same rationale to do a pop-up or to add a three-story addition to their home. That's not who we are as a neighborhood. We are a neighborhood, as you guys know, of basically two-story duplexes. That's the majority of the housing stock. Most of the single-family homes are 2 stories, and the apartment buildings certainly go beyond 2 stories, and some of the single-family homes go up to 3 stories. But that's the majority. That's the minority. So if you vote for this and allow her to build, it's going to destroy the character of the community. We didn't buy houses in this community to have pop-ups. We didn't buy houses in this community to have 3-story additions. We bought houses in this community because of the quaint character, the charm, and the 2-story single-family or duplex home.
Thank you, sir. And Ms. Biggs, you should be able to speak.
We're gonna take one more.
Yes, ma'am. This last woman, she cannot speak. So go ahead, Brenda.
Okay, thank you all.
Brenda, can I just say something really quick? I'm sorry.
Yes, you can, yes.
Sure. I just wanted to add a comment since I sat in on Commissioner Brooks' meeting over the weekend to note that I'm not inherently opposed to a home expansion for more spots for daycare seats. I think there's a need for daycare seats, but what we've seen here is a lack of openness and transparency from the applicant. So it's been very hard to even figure out what we're voting on. So that's my primary issue, and I just wanted to put that on the record.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Yeah, I remember this from, as Allison has said, Commissioner Brooks, from the last meeting we had last year with her. And she started out with 9 kids, and then she went to 20 kids. And after the meeting was over, she came and said she wanted a daycare for 45 kids. So we really don't know here. And so, Allison, are you ready to give your motion?
I am. I moved that we oppose the expansion of the home daycare located at 2040 Quackenbaugh Street Northeast. I oppose the increase to 20 slots as well as the addition to the home.
I second that motion in opposition. So you're asking for our support for the opposition of the motion, right?
I am, yes.
Yes. Okay. Aaron, will you? Thank you. The motion has been put on the floor and second, and I'm going to ask Aaron to call out the SMDs to say yay or nay to this.
For 4B01.
Abstain.
4B02, yes. 4B03.
Yes.
4B04.
Yes.
4B05.
Yes.
4B06. 4B07.
Yes.
4B08.
Yes.
4B09.
Yes.
So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 yes, 1 abstention.
And 1 F.
Okay, thank you. So opposed, it will be.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, community concerns. Everybody that has community concern, you have 60 seconds, 1 minute. Any community concerns?
Yes, ma'am. However, I believe a large majority of these folks want to talk on the previous matter. Will you allow that, or?
Previous matter, 30 seconds.
Understood, ma'am. Zainab, you should be able to speak now, ma'am.
Yes. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to share my support for the expansion. So
Okay, now we have already discussed, excuse me, we have already discussed this and voted on this.
Oh,
So
okay. So my point of view have no value.
It's done with us.
Okay,
Can
thank
you
you.
give her 30 seconds?
Commissioner Parks, just as a matter, I believe we have to just hear them.
Yeah.
The community
No,
concerns
that's
and we
okay.
just have to listen.
That's okay. Maybe my voice shouldn't be
Okay,
heard. Thank
go
you.
ahead.
I
No,
get
no,
it.
no, please, man.
No, that's okay. I get it. Thank you so much.
That's not democracy. We should never operate like that.
Okay, let's move on. Community concerns.
Ms. Biggs, you should be able to speak.
Bullshit.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Yes, thank you for letting me speak. Everyone should be heard. I live in Ward 4 and been here for over 20 some years plus. And I do live in an area where there is a daycare. Most daycares are put in residential areas for the safety of the children, not in a business area. So I am for that. Now on talking about the length and the height of all of that of the daycare, I'm not really sure about that, but I am sure by working for a child development center, Mazik, that has been in the area for over several years. I worked there for like 15 years. Ms. Bird never lived in the facility. So I am for the daycare being in a home area for the safety of the children. And thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, ma'am. Sarah, you should be able to speak now. S-A-R-A.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I'm concerned about the Piney Branch Road changes, the safety changes. And the reason I'm speaking now is that I've had an exchange with Commissioner Yates, and I appreciate his response. But several issues remain unclear to me. And the first is, you have a working group report. How is this going to be handled? Is the ANC going to be asked to weigh in on this? Is this going directly to DDOT? What is the next step here with that report? And I have a couple of other questions too.
Commissioner, did we want to have Evan respond or wait until the end?
I do. Well, let me just do my second question.
Sure, go ahead, ma'am.
Okay, my second question is why apparently there is a report and there may be an action here. There's an NOI out there. And is there ever going to be a public meeting about this? Because there has been no public meeting. And that's highly unusual to me, that you have a project like this, needed as it is, but the details matter and there has been no public meeting. So I'm hoping to hear from Commissioner Yates. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, so as regular attendees of the meeting know, at our June meeting, we considered a comprehensive resolution on the safety of Piney Branch Road that was passed unanimously by this commission. It was noticed through our normal process and was available for comment, was put up on our website in advance of the meeting in support of substantive changes that go far beyond what DDOT is proposing. Post that, there were a group of neighbors who asked to organize with me to be able to push to get these changes actually implemented, because as folks who've been around ANCs before know, passing a resolution by itself doesn't get projects actually done. And so a group of neighbors got together and we're working to get DDOT to implement those. As To the changes to Piney Branch Road, the notice of intent went out Friday to the commission and is open for comment until October 20th. So the commission could choose to weigh in or not weigh in anytime before that, but also the community can choose to weigh in or not weigh in at any time before that. And that notice is available on DDOT's website right now. However, the timing of it being on Friday and us meeting on Monday means that it's not something that we could add to our agenda for this month to comment specifically on that notice of intent. So if it were to come to our meeting, it would be at the September meeting. I think that answers all the questions.
Thanks, Evan. Ms. Griffin, one last time for you tonight.
Addressed somewhere else, but there was a resolution made at the last meeting for an expansion or a change to a Renaissance home care company, and no one mentioned what the address of that business was, and I was just trying to find out about that. If you show me the commissioners' faces, I do remember who presented it.
Ms. Griffin, this is Ms. Brooks. It was for a business located on Georgia Avenue.
Oh, okay.
And, Commissioner Knickerbocker might have the exact address, but while they are related companies, they are not the same company.
Okay.
Is that enough for you, or do you need the address?
I am curious about the address because I looked for it. I couldn't find it I looked it up. I couldn't find it. So I did.
1 second, I can get it while everyone's talking, and I can put the address in the chat. Do you have the ability to see the chat?
I think I have something where I press chat.
How about this? I can email it to you. Is that better?
Okay, either one. That's fine.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
That's all. Okay.
And last, or I shouldn't say that. Sandrine, hold on 1 second. You'll be able to talk. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you to give me the word. I just gonna say I'm gonna talk about the daycare. That daycare is the community is help us really because we like me. I have a kids and I would like them to learn how to speak French, and I don't really find myself safe if my children go like to a commercial place to attend the school. In that place, I found my kids is really secure. And when people keep pushing like that, it's like I feel like something like discriminate, because like when the neighbors start to say no, we don't, I think because that's a French or Africa people, they do that everywhere in the warfare. We saw the daycare everywhere, but we never in the house and the residence, but nobody never complain about it. We don't know why it's a problem about the daycare, because that place is really secure for the kids. That's my concern. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Chair Parks, I need to respond, please. So this issue has nothing to do with race, and it has everything to do with process. And I'm offended by the fact that someone is making a statement about me who's never met me. You don't know what my position is about anything other than what I've said it is. So every other home expansion that needs a special exemption comes before the ANC and we vote on it. That's the process. That did not happen. No one in this neighborhood is interested in introducing pop-ups to this community. I don't care if they're white, black, blue, or green. If it's a pop-up, that's going to be a concern inside of SMD 4B08. And that's the only time I'm going to say that again.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay,
we've exhausted the all the hands.
Okay, we thank you. Anybody want to give them? We thank everyone for coming out. We thank you for speaking. We thank all of those that came out and gave their presentation. We want to thank the police department. Just thank everyone. Thank you, commissioners, for doing a great job. We are off next month for the month of August. We will have another meeting again. It will be the 4th Monday in September. So everybody be safe. Have a good rest of your summer. And does someone want to give the motion to close? It is now 9:38 p.m.
I'll make the motion to close.
Second.
Okay, thank you all.
Right.
See you in September.